Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, we're going to briefly be talking about some news, a lot of legal news in the Call of Duty world today, involving a lawsuit. Activision is filing some copyright claims on some other big games. Some talks about the COD multiplayer viewership, some positive notes. Brock and I are going to talk about our thoughts on traveling to the Minnesota home series, a fun time this weekend. A little bit of news around the Call of Duty League, and then we're going to talk about the matches from the previous weekend for a little bit, and then dive into predictions and get you guys on out of here. So if you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Had a little uptick in the last video, and we're looking to continue pushing towards 1,000 subs. So if you guys could support us on that, that would be fantastic. If you're listening on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. Looking forward to getting into looking forward to getting into this one. And excited to talk about our LAN experience this weekend in Minnesota and to maybe roast some takes I saw on Twitter. But without further ado, let's just jump into this one. And Brock, how you doing today?
Hey, doing very well. This fine Monday. It's like 56 degrees out, which is very good, positive.
Yeah, warmest day since like the summer for us, basically.
Yeah, literally.
And it's not even gonna be the warmest day of the week. We're gonna hit like 65 later in the week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big W all around.
I can actually walk outside without a winter hat and coat on. Excited for that, but yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. We got some interesting things to talk about, some legal stuff. This is kind of my thing. I like talking about this kind of stuff, oddly enough, because this is like half of what I studied in college. But Activision Blizzard had an antitrust lawsuit, I believe, filed against them by the Department of Justice, and they came to a settlement. Essentially, in really simple terms, without having to dive too deep into legal jargon and talking all about it, it basically says that they can't put like a cap on player value, so they can't make like a salary cap like you'd see in like football, for example. Like it's basically a set number. Teams can't go over it now in football. We obviously know they fudge those numbers and end up moving them around to make them work. But essentially, like in a really simplified way, let's say they made the salary cap $1 million for each CDL team and said you can't spend over this or you get penalized. Basically, they can't do that anymore. So if they want to pay the players each $100 million contracts for 1 year, they technically can. Obviously, nobody's going to do that, but this is interesting because we already know the CDL salaries are pretty inflated. And I had thought Hecz had mentioned once on a podcast that like they didn't have a salary cap. They only had it in MW, and then since then, I don't think they've had it, but I could be wrong.
Oh, so they did have it for an NW then?
I know 100% they had it in MW. They had a salary cap.
Okay.
But it wasn't public knowledge like what it was or what each player was making. But I know they did have it, and then I remember him like saying like it had gone away, but they hadn't talked about it much. And I'm wondering if it was maybe because this lawsuit has been in the works for so long that they just had to do away with it while they were working on the settlement for it. Because you know how long things in the legal world can take, years.
Yeah.
So interesting. I guess another note on it that's very odd is like they basically said that like Activision was being accused of what do they call it? They had a name for it. See if I can find it here. Yeah, the competitive balance tax, which is what the rule was called. It was basically the US government was saying that the video game developer has illegally implemented rules to keep esports players' salaries down by penalizing teams that spent more on player salaries than the amount decided on by Activision Blizzard. So basically, they were saying, hey, you can spend, let's say, X amount, and then a team was spending more than that. You'd be penalized for it. And they're basically saying, nope, can't do that. If the league's growing exponentially, can't do that, which is interesting because we've already heard that player salaries are inflated. So I don't really know how much this will help them because they're already pretty inflated. And we know teams are losing money, pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to be just eager to just start paying people more.
Yeah, I would assume it would come down at some point.
It's just a odd situation that that's happening, but that kind of feeds into what people were also talking about on the timeline is like this was also the Overwatch League was involved with this. And from what we know, the Overwatch League, you know, not nearly as successful right now as the Call of Duty League, which is saying something because it's not like the Call of Duty League has been like a crazy success, but the Overwatch League is certainly struggling more than the Call of Duty League is. Like we've seen CDL viewership grow this year. Overwatch League, I would think, is only declining and hasn't really grown much recently because, you know, Overwatch in general kind of been declining.
Yeah, definitely.
Popularity. But I'm like interested because apparently I didn't read too much into this, but apparently there's like a rumor that a lot of the Overwatch League teams are like suing Activision Blizzard for basically like falsely claiming whatever the league is, making them pay a bunch of money and then nothing actually coming out of it and like no positive coming out of it, then not supporting them. So usually the Overwatch League and CDL would go hand to hand, just because of the nature. They're kind of the same league, the same parent company, and I guess we can only hope maybe this blows up in their face. CDL is disbanded and we go back to CWL era where we get massive tournaments with challengers, open bracket, feeding into the tournament, and double elimination, huge brackets of pool play. We can only hope, right?
Oh man, I wish.
I do wonder who'd run it though, like with the prize pools and like MLG technically not being around anymore. But I do know, I thought I heard that like Microsoft had acquired the MLG brand when they sold, and with Microsoft potentially buying Activision, maybe they like launch up their own version of the CDL, get some MLG employees back to run it. Who knows? But that's thinking way in the future and something that may not even happen.
Yeah.
But some interesting things in the legal world that'll be good to keep an eye on. Obviously, this step of the process is pretty much over with. But if Overwatch League teams are suing Activision, that could get very interesting for how things could go for the CDL if they would file a suit or something could come of it.
Yep.
Some more legal stuff to talk about before we get into more CDL focused stuff from the weekend. Activision is apparently putting like DMCA strikes on Fortnite. I don't know if it was like on Epic or like creators or what, but they're basically putting down DMCA strikes for like COD maps or items being made in the new like Fortnite creative mode. So like obviously like the one that everybody's seen is like Rust. Like a lot of people made like Rust, the map from MW2.
Yep.
People are playing on it, like playing Domination or whatever on Rust, but like people are making Call of Duty maps on Fortnite Creative and like allowing you to play them. And a lot of them even have like similar guns to Call of Duty with like the red dots and everything. And of course, Activision's hitting them with the DMCA, so you can't play them or they're starting to be taken down.
Yeah, no fun there.
Yeah. It is kind of like unfortunate. Like I get it. It's like, yeah, it's no fun taking them down, but I do kind of understand it, I guess. Like it is their property. And they're just like, people are straight ripping it. So like I do technically get like where they're coming from, but it's like, can't we just have fun and leave it on Fortnite? But like I understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, it does make sense, but unlucky.
Yeah, because that mode on Fortnite is something that could change gaming forever. And of course, like I understand why studios would not want them to just straight up copy and paste stuff that they've created onto a game that they're not going to profit off of. But it's like, such potential. Potentially being ripped away because of that.
Man, the Rust I saw looks so good to play, but I haven't played it. I don't really play Fortnite.
Yeah, if I still played Fortnite, I would definitely be trying out. But same, I haven't played Fortnite in like consistently in years. When I used to play it like all the time, like everybody did when it was a newer game. But that's interesting. We'll see what comes of that, or maybe at some point it could be an interesting market where like you could see people and creators in Fortnite like paying other games for the right to use their map in it. That would be something that could be interesting, but that would probably be a long ways down the road.
Yep, for sure.
Some positive things for Call of Duty. COD multiplayer in the month of March last month had more viewership hours on Twitch than Warzone. This is the first time that this has happened in a non-launch month since Warzone released. So obviously it probably has happened in launch months since Warzone where like there was no new Warzone map or anything, but the new Call of Duty came out, so there's just a ton of viewership because all the creators are playing it. But first time in a non-launch month that Call of Duty multiplayer had more viewership than Warzone. I think we all know why this is. And it's a good thing for the CDL and a good thing for us. It's because rank play had viewership.
Definitely, 100% the rank play. All the Warzone streamers don't really like Warzone right now, so they all played rank play.
Exactly. It was a combination of ranked play came out. It was very good system. Obviously, this is very promising because like I think anybody knows, any of the Warzone players who switched over and played it, anybody who's played it, anybody who knows anything about competitive Call of Duty knows this is not a great competitive game, and yet we still are having crazy viewership on multiplayer because of how good the rank system is. Now, like imagine you throw this into like a good game, like imagine this was on like a Black Ops 4, like one of the recent games that we've had that's very good, or even like a Cold War the system was. People can hop on and it's a really good game. On top of that, I can't imagine how high the viewership could get. But But yeah, you made a great point. That's exactly what I was thinking too. It's because a lot of the Warzone streamers are coming over, like especially like the squad of players like Z-Laner, Courage, Tim the Tatman, Doc. Like that's like a squad.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a squad right there that played ranked together like the whole time. And like obviously Tim, Courage, Doc, especially those are like three of the
Mhm.
biggest streamers really out there on any platform. Obviously, like Courage and Tim are streaming on YouTube, but you know what I mean. It kind of still applies.
Yeah.
And Doc, I guess all of them are streaming on YouTube, so that's kind of a bad example I use. But still, like you know what I mean. Like all those big streamers are transitioning over and playing.
Yeah. Yep. Especially Scummin. He's a Warzone streamer.
Yeah, I think Aiden
He's-
still streams on Twitch too, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
He's been playing a lot of Warzone.
Yeah, and Scummin, he's number 1 right now. And
Yeah.
he's a Warzone streamer.
Yep. So like a ton of those guys are not playing Warzone anymore because the state of the game and playing Call of Duty multiplayer, which is big to see because obviously the viewership for multiplayer in general has just been declining year over year, probably since like Black Ops 2 when it hit its peak, and it's pretty much been declining since.
Yeah.
But good to see this. Hopefully it continues, and hopefully these
Right.
creators keep playing ranked.
Man, that way. Only thing I had is fix the cheater situations.
Yeah, we're starting to get into the higher ranks where it's like like that we played a week ago or so, we played a map of Hydro. You know what I'm talking about. We played a map of Hydro Hardpoint. Obviously, that's the only mode on Hydro. But right off the rip, our friend got killed. I didn't think anything of it. Obviously, just like a P1 break. Another person dies, and I spawn up like P5, and I'm going to cross, and the guy pre-fires me as I'm crossing, and I was like, "Huh?" Like, I get that like maybe he saw somebody else there and like was trying to shoot them. So I'm like, okay, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I watched kill cam. I was like, that's weird. And then the guy just like goes on to just like aim you through walls, pre-fire every like cut you're hitting, and every time you chow, he's shooting before you even chow the corner. And like he ended up going like I don't know, like 48-2 or something. And
Yeah.
like you just run into cheaters like that, and it's like, yeah, we're not even like iridescent or anything either. We're like high diamond, low crimson right now, and like running into cheaters like crazy there, where like iridescent lobbies and top 250 lobbies, I'm sure, are even worse.
Yeah, those lobbies are probably just chalked with so many cheaters. Don't want to play that probably.
Yeah, and I mean, even at our rank, like you can instantly tell when somebody's cheating.
Yeah, but I will
Doesn't
say
happen
it was
like crazy often, but
yeah. I will say it's not as bad as the cheater that we found in Cold War.
oh yeah, we found the aim lock cheater.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, only headshots. He went like 88-0 or whatever. Sweat Bannon.
yeah, literally.
Yeah,
He's better. He's the best. That's all I can say.
I guess. The one other thing I was going to mention quick before we talk about the Minnesota LAN, I saw it on actually two things I want to talk about. We got more news than I thought today. I did see there was like a leak. I can't remember who the source was. It was like some MW2 logo I'm seeing in my head, but I forgot to like it so I could save it. But he talked about a rumor that he had heard, and I'm pretty sure from what I was seeing in the comments, it was a reliable leaker. But what he had heard about COD 2024, which wouldn't be the next title, but the title after, it would be Treyarch's title. So let's be honest, the one we're all waiting for. And he had said that it was potentially sliding was back in the game. The time to kill was like BO4s, so like a pretty long time to kill. And then the timeline of it was like set in the Gulf War, I think is what they said. So like more modern, obviously, than like the World War II or Cold Wars that we've seen recently, but not like crazy modern. And then it had sliding, which is, can add for a fun element to the game, and it had Black Ops 4 style health. So that sounds incredible, and it's Treyarch, so begging for that game to just be teleported into our hands.
Yeah. Hopefully. I kind of hope they, and next Treyarch game is some specialists being added back.
Yeah, I'd be down for it too. I once again, we always like say that with like I can understand, at the pro level why you maybe wouldn't want it because of the flukiness, but for us playing ranked play and the viewer specialists are just, there's like no negative. It's way more fun to watch. It just adds something exciting. Once again, we say that understanding that like, I understand as a pro, I probably won't want it either because it's just so like having somebody pop a 4-piece on you with that cheese Tempest from BO4.
Yeah.
It's really not like competitive, but like for us, it leads to crazy fun moments.
Yeah, and watching crazy moments all around.
Yeah, it's kind of like something we're going to talk about in a little bit with Expo. in like the same wavelength. One other thing I want to talk about. Did you watch the Eavesdrop podcast with Ghosty?
I did not.
That was a great podcast that made me much more of a Ghosty fan. Not that I wasn't like a Ghosty fan. I just didn't really know much about him. I was just kind of like, yep, he's a player. I didn't really, it wasn't like a huge fan or like a hater of him. He was just kind of there and just observing how he played the game. But the podcast was a pretty good eye opener into Ghosty's journey here. It was like he had a pretty rough upbringing. It sounded like he basically had two drug addict parents that like didn't take care of him. And then when he was 14, he started the emancipation process, which is basically where like you put yourself into foster care because your parents can't take care of you. You need to like pay a bunch of money for it, and like ended up leaving his childhood home to go into foster care when he was 16, and then like basically got his college paid for, half from academic scholarships and then half from just not having a lot of money and getting grants and stuff. It was kind of a crazy story, and like made me gain a lot more respect for him, and just a wild story. And he also like mentioned, I don't know if he mentioned exactly where he's from, but he was going to college in Illinois and was kind of from the Midwest. And I always have a bias because we're from the Midwest and Wisconsin, Illinois, obviously right below us. I kind of always have a bias. I like the Midwest. I have a bias towards it because that's where I'm from, but I always think Midwest people seem to be some of the nicest people and some good people. So I like seeing them succeed. So Dan Ghosty, shout out to him. It was kind of a cool story. If anybody hasn't listened to it, I would recommend going to listen to it. It's not a crazy long podcast, but it was a good one to get to know his background a little bit. And he's still, we did learn though, I didn't know, but he is still doing school. That's the other reason I also liked him, because he dropped down I can't remember exactly what he said. I'm forgetting a little bit, but he had a couple extra minors or he was double majoring or something, and he knocked a few of them down. And he's just studying political science as a major, which also made me like him more because he had the same major as me, and he had a legal studies minor, which was the minor I had as well. One of the minors I had. So we basically studied the same thing in college from roughly the same area. Thankfully, I didn't have a rough upbringing like him, but made me like him more because made me like him a lot more because we had a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, definitely. He's proven the haters wrong.
Yeah, and he played very well this weekend. We'll get into that, but let's talk about the Minnesota LAN. Obviously, we have a little bit of a unique perspective because we're one of the few thousand people or whatever it was that were there in attendance, and probably a lot of people listening to this weren't. Because let's be honest, if you weren't in the area, who was traveling to Wisconsin in March? In a colder time, unless you were like within a few hours, you probably weren't heading on over here. And the Minnesota LAN, I mean, I can let you give your thoughts first, but I had an incredible time. I thought it was a very fun event. Rocker did a fantastic job. I believe I've been to every event that Rocker has thrown. I went to the kickoff back in MW, the first ever CDL events. We went to the major that they hosted last year, and then we went to this. So I believe I've been to every event that Rockers hosted, and each one of them was fantastic. And they did it again. It was a fantastic event, and cool to see them bring it to Wisconsin.
Yeah, they definitely do it right. I like what was it? I like the walkout for the first match.
Yeah,
for the Rocker players and all that. I wish they would have done that the walkout like for the other team too, but they didn't.
Yeah, it seemed like it was an event that was mostly catered. Obviously, it was more catered to the Minnesota team, but like they didn't have cams, like player cams on there for like the visiting team. They basically only had them set up for Minnesota. They gave Minnesota the intro and just like did the standard like video that played like you'd see like on the stream or any other event. But it was a really cool venue, like an old school like 1920s theater, but it was like modernized. It was a really cool venue. And it was Wisconsin, of course. So those of you that don't know much about Wisconsin, kind of the drinking capital of the United States, and they were serving beer, which earlier events I was at didn't seem like they did, but this event was serving like beer, seltzers, mixed drinks, wine, and of course in Wisconsin, everybody's getting rowdy, everybody's having drinks. So like I'm sure on stream, I don't know how much they had like the crowd noise pumped in on stream, but like Chance was saying, there was a lot of times that inside the venue you couldn't hear Chance casting because it was so loud.
Yeah, 100%. I would assume be pretty loud on the stream.
Yeah, because they gave out those like I don't even know exactly what they're called, like
bam sticks,
like the banger sticks, like the two like that you blow up and you bang them together. I'm sure you could hear it on stream unless they were like muting it down because it was so loud. But like Chance was saying, like he heard it was the party capital of the world, and like he saw why people were partying. And that's like, as weird as it sounds, it's like something that people in Wisconsin like pride themselves on. It's like drinking beer and partying. That's like a thing here that we pride ourselves on, as weird as it sounds. But like people were getting rowdy. I'm not even kidding. Like it was like any other event. They had a very good sound system in there. But like you legitimately, for the second match especially, the Rocker LAG match, you legitimately couldn't hear chants in the crowd. Like it was so loud in there with cheering and the bang sticks going everywhere, and people were having beers and getting rowdy. And like, man, if you could host an event in like Madison or Milwaukee at some of the cool venues we have and like historic venues we have in like June, when it's going to be like I know people like always think of Wisconsin as a cold place, but Wisconsin in June, I always think that too. Like that's why I love living in this area, because like Wisconsin in the summer, I think is like one of the most beautiful places to be. Like up north in Door County, and like it's just beautiful, like 70 to 80 degree weather, and like it's a really great place to be in the summer. So I wish they would host like a full on major here in like June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't get too hot in June.
I would argue that it's like one of the best places to be in like June with the beautiful weather, and got a lot going on here when it's nice outside, because people know you got to do a lot when it's nice out, because we only get so many months of it.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, the Rocker W for them.
Yeah, and ticket prices were not crazy expensive, and I don't want to talk too much about all the stuff that was going on Twitter, because I addressed it a bunch on Twitter and was like talking to people, had some conversations, had some people DMing me asking about like details of the land, but like there's obviously a lot of negativity, and I think you and I both understand some of the negativity. Like I do get the competitive integrity thing. I can see like if I was Clay, I think I would be just as upset as Clay was. I think I'd be saying this is stupid. Rockers getting matches on LAN. I have to play online. Not arguing that. I would probably be in the same boat as Clay. I'd probably be raging about it. Can't even lie.
Yeah.
But like from our perspective, you got to think like for the fans' perspective, it's really cool, and you have to take a first step at some point. I would love to see this happen all the time. Like I'd love to see Boston do a home series, and then OpTic do one, and then Faze do one, and then Vegas do one, and like and their local areas just have an event where they get to play a couple teams on LAN in like each qualifier. But like at the same time, it's not like Rocker was just given special treatment and allowed to do this. This was set up before the season even started. Pretty sure before the game came out. They paid for it on their own, and like people were saying, like, well, other teams can't afford to. Well, why are you in the CDL then? Like, it's not like they just like put this on, hosted it for free, and like just lost a bunch of money. Like, I don't know if they made money or lost money, or made $1 million, lost $1 million, but they put on the event. We still had to pay for tickets. Everybody that was there that had to pay for tickets. They were selling jerseys, sweatshirts, T-shirts. People were buying a ton of those. I saw a bunch of people going to that little store and buying it. They were selling beer and wine and drinks. Like I said, a bunch of people were buying a bunch of drinks. There was some food in the venue. People were paying for VIP tickets to get a bunch of extra experiences. Like you were buying a lot of things. I don't think they lost money hand over fist doing that. Like they sold plenty of merch, food, and tickets.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a packed house.
Yeah, I think I was watching this the flank, like the COO whatever came on the flank, talked about the Rocker event for like 20 minutes. Didn't it say like just under 1,000 over there in attendance?
Yeah, and you got to think about too. This is an area that, to my knowledge, of COD LAN has like never been like really here.
Yeah.
If it was, it had to have been a very long time ago before I was even watching COD, and like it had to be like a little local, like no like major thing. But it's like basically the first one. Sorry, I just saw a tweet pop up behind me from Joey Nubsy 1 minute ago. He said, after a final review, I can in fact confirm that Wisconsin is a top 10 state and could easily creep into the top 5 after a few more visits. Keep it up, cheeseheads, with a cow emoji. And then somebody asked how many states he'd been to, and he said probably like 35. And I was like, let's go. Also, Reese Vivid commented on it. Look at us, and added mock. And I didn't know. I'm pretty sure Reese is from Wisconsin.
I think I heard that a little bit ago.
He also tweeted hashtag this is my crew. All right. I know why I have the Boston bias now. I'm a big Reese fan. All right. I'm a Vivid fan. We've determined it. I got to know where Reese is from.
Yeah, I have no clue where he's from, but I think I heard on some stream one time that he was from Wisconsin.
I'm going to reply to his tweet about the Brewers right now. So if anybody sees this tweet when you're listening, that you knew it came out while I was recording the podcast. But yeah, shout out to Rocker. Event was incredible. I hope to see more in Wisconsin, and I hope it was a showcase of what Wisconsin can do here. Hopefully we get a Milwaukee franchise or a Madison franchise. That'd be pretty sick.
That'd be so dope.
Yeah, I would be going to all those events. I'd hope they hold a lot of local ones. From what I remember, the Bucks owners did invest in League of Legends a while back, so maybe they do have some esports interest there, but that would also require expansion.
Yeah.
But so overall, I hope to see more events like this.
Yeah, we need that expansion.
Yeah. I only got one more thing before we talk about some of the matches from this weekend, and that's about Expo Control. It was officially played for the first time. I have some thoughts on it. I think you'll probably agree with me, but I'm interested to see. My general thoughts on it are, I played it obviously in ranked play. I don't think it's a great map. I do enjoy playing it more than Fortress, and it's not close. And the reason being is, for now, while people don't really know how to play the map as well, it's possible to win offense. It's possible to win defense. I'm not just standing in my spawn stuck on either end. Like, there is spawn traps, but I can get out of them for now. And it's, in my opinion, it's a below average map, but I enjoy playing it more than Fortress. And I'll say it is infinitely better to watch. I understand that pros might not love playing it, and it might not be that great to play, but I think you'll agree with me at least. We'll get your thoughts here in a sec, but it's infinitely better to watch because it's not just a team getting spawn killed and then like them deciding they just want to sit in their spawn for a full round because they have a tick advantage and don't want to feed streaks. So then the round ends up 28-28 in lives. Like, it's infinitely better to watch, and for that reason, I like it and preferring that it stays in because it's much more fun to watch than Fortress. And Asilo and Hotel are not bad maps to watch. This one isn't bad either. So now we've got 3 control maps that I can at least not want to turn off the TV while I'm watching, because when Fortress Control would come up, I would legitimately just not want to even watch.
Yeah, snooze fest.
Yeah.
On Fortress. No, for me, I didn't mind it for now. The only thing I don't like is on the B point, there's like 25 doors.
Yeah.
And places you can hide and stuff. I don't like the B area, but yeah, you can. It's definitely a winnable on offense and defense, which is a W for now.
Yeah, and I do think it kind of sucks to play, but I will like die on the hill that it is infinitely better to watch, which is important to me because I can actually watch it and not be completely bored. And if worst case scenario, it just gets auto vetoed every series, the other 2 control maps are pretty good to watch.
Yeah. So
it makes the overall viewing experience a whole lot better, which is why I prefer it, because everybody knows Fortress Control sucks. The map design is just horrible. Like, it completely favors defense, which Control should favor defense at least slightly, but it still has to be winnable for offense. It's basically unwinnable. So
yeah.
That's final thoughts on that. Let's dive into some matches from the weekend, Brock. I don't want to like dive into every match. You know how we do it. We don't just want to individually take 10 minutes talking about every match and then just taking forever. But we want to talk about, point out some important matches from the weekend. Like, well, you want to just get out of the way. London, like, we don't really need to talk about them. They looked horrendous. They are clearly far and away the worst team in the league right now.
They got mopped.
Yeah, like, I thought the Thieves series was bad, and like the OpTic series was almost somehow worse. I mean, against Thieves, they barely escaped 100-point club, 250 to 101. Then they got 6-0'd in search and 3-0'd in control. They just got absolutely dominated. Yuli led them in the Thieves series with a 0.78. And then if I look here in the series against OpTic, it was pretty much just as bad. I mean, they got beat 250 to 68 on the Fortress, then 6-2 on the search and 3-1 on the control. And Nasty led them. Asim led them in the series with a 0.86. I mean, on the side of OpTic, worst KD in the team was Dan Ghosty with a 1.22. Dashy had a 1.8. Hook had almost a 1.4. Shotzzy had a 1.24. Like, domination. Nothing to say about London. They are horrible.
They're speed running, but not winning.
Yeah, they are bad. So
they got the DoorDash challenge. Chowder eggs.
Yeah, I like that one. It was rough, to say the least. That's all I can say about it. But that we can wrap up our talk on like OpTic for the weekend there too. Like, OpTic just look incredible. They looked amazing. But it's a little bit of a pump the brakes. It's not like call them the best team in the game or anything. Let's see them do it against a little better competition.
Yeah.
And for the side of Thieves, we can kind of wrap up with them too. They got that win, and then they have a nice, impressive win over Surge, who I am still a fan of, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. But Surge, a pretty good team. A little bit of an off series from Pred and Civ in this one. Whenever accuracy leads their team and KD and damage, I'm going to say in general, they're probably not going to win that match.
Yeah.
And it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but accuracy is never really going to have like much more than a 1.05 like he had in this series. He's always going to hover from like a 0.85 to a 1.05, like that 0.2 variance there. He's always going to hover somewhere in there. And I would say if he's leading them, that's probably not a great sign because he's not going to be having a 1.1 or better usually. That probably means Civ and Pred struggle, and that was the case in this series. But good weekend from Thieves to prove they can play online. And Mr. Dylan Envoy popped off in that series against Surge. He looked very good. Thieves maybe hitting form ahead of the end of the year, just like they did last year.
Man, no way they do it again.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing as OpTic. Pump the brakes a little bit. One of the matches they did win was against London, so take that with a grain of salt. But Surge is a good team to beat. They're a good team.
Yeah, definitely. I would say is for the London and Thieves series, shout out to Kenny dropping the donut for the W.
Yeah, it's a rare thing when it happens, but I believe I thought I saw something that means that now like Octane, Draza, and Kenny have all dropped donuts this year. It's just waiting on Dylan Envoy, but
yeah,
he's a little bit too good of a Surge player. I don't see him dropping a donut this year, but it'd be kind of cool if he did, to have the whole team all have dropped a donut in the year. I thought I saw something that maybe they all won this year too, and they dropped a donut, but I could be completely lying there.
I don't think Octane won this year, but he won last year. I know, dropping a donut.
Yeah, Octane had the 0-0 against Faze. That was this year, right? The 0-0 against Faze in series.
I think that was Vanguard.
Was it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Boston. Let's talk about Boston, Vegas. Vegas pulls out a big win. Donnie Temp was talking all over the place. This is the first time he's been carried in 2 years. This was the series of Standy and Tej. Clay also had a very good series. Donnie didn't have a bad series by any stretch of the imagination, but this was the Standy and Tej series. And the reason I say that is because, well, first of all, Tej won on that last hardpoint with a crazy piece on that P2.
Yeah, I saw that clip, like 3Ps, 2Ps.
Yeah, and he went 38 and 24. Probably the best map we've seen from TJ all year.
In a while, too.
Yeah, in a long time. Probably in a long time. He was piecing, looked fantastic. Standy also looked incredible this series. Clay looked great. Temp was good. It's not like he had a bad series, but the reason why I want to talk about Vegas is because it's notable that, first of all, they do win the Search and Destroy in this series, which they basically win every search they play. But Boston is one of the other very good search teams, so it's a good, impressive win. But they also win 2 hard points, which is not Vegas-like, and that's because of their sub-duel. Their sub-duel came to play, and that's like we can say that this entire year, or really ever, for this team.
Yeah. They pack-punched. Now they're starting winning respawns.
Well, yeah, and it's because of exactly what we talked about. Like, what was Standy going to bring to this team? They were picking him up to hopefully bring more slaying upside.
Yep.
That's exactly what he did in the series. I mean, looking at his stats, he led the lobby in kills with 94, and he also led the lobby in damage. That's what Standy was brought in to do. Slay.
Yep.
Alleviate some pressure off TJ to have to do that. Alleviate pressure off the team in general by him slaying out. Temp doesn't have to do as much of it. Can gap fill more, and hopefully everything continues to go this way, because it's pretty fun when Vegas is good. Like Clay, he's doing it again. He's bringing a squad, from the depths, and he said he's getting them to buy in. They even spent a little bit extra to get Standy. Like, he brought the owner to an event for the first time, kind of saw how things were going, and Vegas on the up. Hopefully they keep it up.
So we like to hear. Temp does also feel like he has to drop 30 plus a game for them to win.
Yeah.
And can be hard on him.
Yeah, we can talk about it, but it would be a colossal failure now if Vegas doesn't make winners bracket, because like we mentioned, they played Florida, and then this week they play LAG in London.
Yeah.
So they play like all the bottom teams, and the 2 tougher matches they had were Boston and Toronto. And they were able to pull out a win now in one of those. They were able to beat Boston, who was one of their matches we viewed as one of their tougher ones, because it was. So if they don't make winners bracket now, it'd be a colossal failure, because basically to guarantee winners bracket, they have to go 2-1 against London, LAG, and Florida. I mean, how much better of a path can you get?
Yeah, they can go 5-0, bro.
I mean, yeah, London is who they play first this week. London looks horrendous. They look like the worst team in the league. Then they play LAG, who's right down there as one of the worst teams. But man, that Joe Thieves kid was disgusting this weekend on land. Wisconsin Joe is a different breed.
Yeah.
But so 2 winnable matches for Vegas. They could be 3-0, and then like should be able to beat a Florida team. And then they play Toronto, who after this week went 0-2. Like
shaky.
You never know. So Vegas should very easily be able to go 4-1 in this split. At worst, they should go 3-2.
Yeah. Secure that winner spot and have a fight for the end of the year with Minnesota. So what does it look like right now?
Yeah. Overall, though, I'd say for Boston, up and down weekend, they lost that, but then they ended up taking out Toronto. Really good series out of Beans. He had some good moments. Vivid also had a very good series. It was really good to see Vivid go 99 and 87 overall in the series with about 12,000 damage, most in the lobby, most kills, most damage in the lobby. Very good to see out of Vivid because, like we mentioned, coming into this stage, Nero was definitely the better sub on this team. But Vivid, kind of the X factor. Like Awakening is always going to be pretty consistently slaying. Beans has been pretty consistent so far. Nero's up to his consistency hasn't been as up and down, even though he didn't have the best weekend this weekend. But Vivid has kind of been down this year from what we're used to. And, if he can hit this form, be consistent, they can become a very good team.
Good confidence boots for Vivid this weekend.
And I didn't even realize it, but now where Vivid stands. I got to find this out, but I didn't know Vivid was from Wisconsin, and now that makes me like Vivid even more. Because from what I know, he might be the only pro from Wisconsin.
Probably. I don't know. where they're all from.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that'll be interesting to see how Boston progresses because they looked very good this weekend in this match. Obviously, they lost to Vegas, but it's not an embarrassment to lose to Vegas anymore because they're not a bad team.
Yeah. They're not the old Vegas, the new Vegas.
Since we just talked about them, let's talk Toronto. They lost 2 Game 5s this weekend to 2 pretty good teams. To be fair to them, we kind of talked about how they were 0-2, but to be fair to them, they did lose to Boston and Seattle. Not like they lost to some garbage teams. Those are 2 good teams.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, like they lost 2 searches to Seattle, which can be a little concerning because obviously we haven't known Seattle to be much of a search team this year. And as we mentioned this is what you'd more expect to see in a series. Pred with a 1.17 accuracy, though. How about accuracy this weekend? 1.11 in the series against Toronto. Also led his team, or excuse me, I was looking at Pred stats for a second. Did not lead his team in damage. That was Pred, but had a good amount of damage, almost 10K, which was pretty much in line with the rest of his team. But accuracy, good weekend for him. Yeah, they take out Toronto. But let's talk Toronto. Insight had a very good series against Seattle, but it was a struggle for Scrappy. He especially struggled. Which map was that? Was that in the first hard point that I'm thinking of? Yeah, he went 19 and 32. Yeah. He just wasn't looking like himself. He did have a lot of damage, just wasn't converting kills, which, like you always say, it is more important to look at the damage. Like, he was on par with the rest of his team and did have a pretty good amount. He just probably happened to be the guy that was making everyone one shot instead of finishing the kills.
Yeah.
But yeah, struggle weekend for Toronto. Honestly, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt because they lost 2 map 5s to 2 good teams.
Yeah. Not too worried.
Like, I'm not too worried about them. And what was the map 5? It was a 6-4 map 5 loss against Boston, and then a 6-3 in map 5 against Seattle. I will say the one thing that's concerning is they lost all 4 searches this weekend. And we did know them to kind of dominate response, so I'm a little shaky. I'm a little bit worried about the search and destroy. That's all I'll say, because we know how teams can go on bad streaks in that game mode.
Yeah, figure something out, unless it was just a fluke weekend.
Yeah, which it definitely could have been, because I still believe they're a good team.
Yep.
Let's talk about, like...
A rocker?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about, like, 2 more teams here. The ones I wanted to mention was, like, the Faze versus New York match. And then Rocker. So let's quick talk about Faze New York. New York wins a Game 5, round 11. To be honest, I think it was just 2 talented teams squaring up. And, Faze is bound to lose at some time, but it's a really good get back on track game for New York.
Yeah.
Their only match of the weekend, but good to see them do that. And then Faze takes out Florida 3-2, which a little concerning because Faze usually should beat Florida, I would hope, in less than 5 maps, but at least they're able to get the win. So Faze, a little bit shaky weekend, but once again, I need to
The
see
Faze.
so much out of Faze to be questioning them. But a good weekend for New York. If you ever beat Faze, it's a good weekend for you.
Yeah. Close maps too as well. I'm looking at. I don't think I watched this one.
Yeah, it was a good
New York
series.
Faze. Damn. What
Yeah,
preset at 1.28? Damn.
Yeah, it was a good series. Kismet was also popping off. It wasn't the best Hydra series. And that game 5 round 11, if I remember right, it was basically just like a quick round though. It wasn't anything special. I think it left Slasher like in a 1v4 or something.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a great round 11 by any means, but yeah, impressive win for New York to be able to pull it out against Faze. Then the last team I really want to talk about, Minnesota. 2 matches on land. They looked fantastic. That boy Fame looked very good, except for when he went blind on a silo
He's
search.
locked in.
Yeah. That was one of the funniest moments in the venue. Everybody's like, what? He dropped a 1.5 against Florida. Afro was on point. Bance struggled a little bit, but I mean, the team was dominating, so you can't ask for too much more, and everybody else was shooting.
Yeah, I believe Fame's 1.5 is the second most for a CDL debut.
Who was first, Standy? Or no?
I think Standy was first.
Was he? Did he really have better than 1.5?
I think it was Standy. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I think it was at 1 point. I think it was close though. 1.58 maybe.
Yeah, maybe something like that. That sounds about right. But yeah, Fame had an incredible weekend, except for when he went blind, like I mentioned. And what were you gonna say?
Standy at a 1.52 and Fame at 1.5.
Okay, so just barely better Standy edge. Edges them out there, but yeah, excellent weekend from Fame. Overall, Minnesota looked improved. Once again, pump the brakes on this one as well, because while Minnesota did look very improved, it was LAN home crowd against LAG in Florida. It's not the best competition, but hey, you can't really fault them for beating their competition, although we will be putting the caution tape up on this one and being hesitant with just overreacting and saying Minnesota's back. One more guy we got to talk about before we do predictions, Joe Thieves.
That boy Joe was moving.
He was everything. 38 and 15 in that map one. Dropped 12 in the search.
Jesus.
For the L, by the way. And then in the control had 39. And then he only had 13. Okay, so think about this. He had 13 in the map 4 hardpoint. They only played 4 maps. He had 102 kills.
No, yeah. Whatever he was doing.
Yeah. You even imagine he had like his average map, like which would probably be like 10 more kills. He had 112 kills in 4 maps.
Jeez.
That's absurd.
I wonder what the most is for like a 4 map.
I mean, it depends on the game, because like in other games, like if it's like a Black Ops 4 or like a Vanguard, if you played a bow cage, like you just get so many more engagements on that map. So it's kind of like it's kind of tough to compare it game by game. You kind of almost have to compare it, because like in like AW, people were dropping 60s, like no problem. In Black Ops 3, people were dropping 40s and 50s, no problem.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of hard to do that, but like, you know what's absurd is it's like, so like he had 102 kills in 4 games, so like he had roughly like 25 and a half kills per game, and that's with a search and destroy in there and a hardpoint where he dropped 13. That's absurd.
Yeah, and they definitely should have won that control. They kind of choked that at the end.
Yeah, when they got blessed when I forget what 2 players were left, but they lined up for assault.
Yeah,
on the B point there on a silo, but yeah, you're not wrong. They should have won that control.
Yep.
If you're Joe after that series, you're just looking around like, what do I gotta do?
Yeah, literally, he's LeBron on the 2018 Cavs.
Yeah, it was tough scenes. I would be losing full house him because of the way their year's gone, and like that happens for you. It's like, man, can I catch a break? Like I'm popping off here. You ready to dive into predictions though? We spent enough time on news and everything like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into predictions. I'm excited to get into them. From our standings from last week, close week. You picking LAG and putting 4 points on it screwed you over once again. But you finished the week with 4 points. I got 5, so very tight race. And if you guys out there listening don't know, Brock has to beat me in this stage to stay alive, because I'm up 2-1. I won Major 1 and 2 predictions, and he won Major 3. So Brock's got to beat me in this one to force that game 5 going into Major 5, and I'm up 5-4. So that means Brock, has the veto right. If you don't know how we do our scoring, we pick the team, and then either put 1 or 2 points on it. So if we put 2 points on it and get it right, we get 2 points. If we get it wrong, we lose 2 points. So kind of a little wager system there. And then we can each put 4 points on one series for the weekend. And if we get the map count right, we get a bonus point for that series. So pretty simple scoring, but I'm up 1. And let's dive into predictions. Day 1, Boston versus London. Should we speed run this prediction? I don't think you're picking London. And I'm not either. Spoiler alert.
3-1, Boston, 2 points.
Yeah.
I'll the benefit of the doubt of the 1.
Yeah, you're putting 2 points on a Boston 3-1, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to just change it up and try to get a map count on you. I'm going Boston 3-0. I was initially thinking I'm putting 2 points on it as well. Boston 3-0. I was originally actually thinking about giving them a map because I was like, Boston will let off the gas. London will find a way. I think London would find a way to maybe win a map 1 or a map 3. I like Boston and Search over them pretty easily, but maybe London wins a respawn because they're embarrassed with their last performance, but also they could just be completely chalked and be like, yeah, we're out of champs anyways. We suck. Like, could be checked, but you never know because at the same time, pretty much, I would think Asim probably is going to get a shot on another team regardless, but like guys like Scraps, Yuli, even Nasty, like they might be fighting for their CDL life, so they're not just going to roll over and die here.
Yeah.
Then we got Florida versus Seattle. Battle of the ocean, the aquatic teams. You think Florida can pull this out? They played Faze very tight. They didn't look bad against Minnesota. Like they've been playing teams better. They beat Atlanta in a search, which was shocking. And it was on Abezy where they hadn't lost, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. It was like the 10-win streak, or it was. They're trying to know that map before that.
Yeah.
I'll take Seattle 3-1. I'll put 2 points.
Yeah. All that to say,
they get 1.
All that to say that you're still picking Seattle. 3-1 and 2 points.
Lamar, yeah. Lamar and Pred.
See if Lamar keeps up this good stage he's had so far. 2 games, 1.05 and a 1.11 he had. I'm going to agree with you. You all know there's a couple teams that I seem to always pick, and Seattle's one of them. I'm going to say a 3-2, though. I'm also going to put 2 points on it. I'm going to say a 3-2 goes in favor of Seattle because I like that Seattle team a lot. I like the Florida team as well. I do think they're a scrappy team that will pretty much play every series competitively, but it's tough to say that they're just going to go out there and beat Seattle because I do also have a ton of faith in Seattle. I also just realized looking at this, I might want to go back and put 4 points on Boston on that first series looking forward because it's maybe the series I'm most confident in. So unless you're vetoing it and you're going to choose Boston for 4 points in this series because it's their only series, I'm going to put it on there. I'm going back in time. I'm putting 4 points on Boston over London in a 3-0.
It's definitely a valid one right there.
It's honestly more because I have less faith in London than having like crazy faith in Boston. But then I was looking forward, like there's maybe a match or two I thought about putting it on, but I don't feel crazy confident in like any of the matches we have left after this. I feel like I'm pretty good, but not as confident as I'd feel in Boston over London. Then we got last match of the day, NYSL versus Minnesota. Can Minnesota continue their LAN momentum online, you think, or will New York shut them down?
Only match of the week too.
Yeah, only match for Minnesota.
I think they'll lose in a 3-2 game 5.
You think Minnesota will lose?
Yeah. So NYSL. I'll put 1 point on it.
Okay. We might be. You say 3-2?
Yeah, 3-2.
Okay. We might be in sync for day 1. I feel like it was pretty hard to pick London or Florida in either of the first series. That's not surprising, but like I want to see a little bit more out of Minnesota now that they're playing a top team. I'm also going to pick NYSL. I think I'm going to go 3-2 though to be a little different, maybe get a little different map count than you. I'm only going to put 1 on this as well. Staying pretty in sync with you here, but I just do think it's tough to pick Minnesota over a team like NYSL that has been shaky as well recently, but they just took out Faze and Minnesota just beat 2 pretty bad teams. I want to see a little bit more before I start picking them against teams like NYSL that I believe are potentially some of our top teams.
Yep.
Then we move on to Saturday. got London, Royal, Ravens versus Vegas. I also forgot to mention some of these should be bounty matches. Yeah, so all the matches on Friday. Am I looking at the right thing here? If I'm looking at this right, all the matches on Friday are bounty matches.
Okay.
So also that'll be a little extra juice for the players to play for something. They each get an extra 2,500 in prize winnings if they win. And then it looks like one match on Saturday and one. So actually, no. So it looks like, all of the Friday matches are bounties. Then the Faze Toronto on Saturday is a bounty match. Vegas LAG is a bounty match on Sunday. And Thieves OpTic is also a bounty match. So we've got, 60K on the line in bounty matches this weekend.
Yeah. I would have thought the LAG versus LAT would be a bounty match.
Yeah, I got something to say when we get to that. But let's start with the first match. London versus Vegas. You picking London to get the upset, or are you picking Vegas to take them out?
Vegas, TJ Halley, gonna go crazy again. 3-0. I put my 4 points on Vegas.
I actually, as weird as this sounds, I actually did see this match, and I'm like, that's one of the ones you could put it on. Because you got to feel pretty confident. I don't hate the pick at all. I think it's a pretty good one. It's one of the better matches for the weekend to put 4 on. I actually am going to disagree with the map count for mostly purposes of trying to gain some points on you. But I think 3-1. I think it's just so hard to pick Vegas in a 3-0. I feel like they're going to fumble the control again, maybe. These are two bad control teams going at it.
Yeah.
But I feel like they might fumble the control, and then we see London steal a map from them, whether it's that control or not. I think London finds a way to just get one. I'm only going to I'll put 2 points on it. I'll put 2 points on Vegas in a 3-1 over London. Then we get to the Battle of LA, which, if we're going by statistics, if I'm reading correctly what I read this week, I think LAT still has yet to beat LAG ever.
It's so weird.
CDL match. I don't think Thieves have ever beat LAG, so the battle for LA is really not even a battle at this point. It's really not a battle until both teams have won a match.
Yeah. Man,
so as of right now, your LAG boys own them.
It's so weird how they just they just beat them with their bad teams against LAT.
That's what I was gonna say too, because at no point in the CDL really has LAG ever been better than LAT, except their one peak at a single major.
Mm-hmm.
In MW, they were one of the worst teams, and then I guess technically Thieves weren't in, but if you want to consider that OGLA team Thieves, because it's kind of the same org following that path. If you want to discount that, either way, still, OGLA was better than LAG and MW. Then go to Cold War where they come in. Thieves wasn't the greatest, but LAG was the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
And then go to Vanguard. Obviously, LAT early on wasn't the greatest. Ended up being the best team in the game at the end, and LAG really was only good for one major, and even before that major and after that major, they sucked.
One weekend miracle.
Yeah, literally one weekend they were good, and LAT was okay in the beginning, and then obviously the best team in the game at the end. And then this year, same thing. LAG has been pretty poor, one of the worst teams in the league, and Thieves have been, not the best, but they made it to a final, and Thieves have been a consistent top 6 team all year.
Yeah.
So Thieves have always been better, literally except for one weekend. Thieves have always been better. You think they finally get their first win, or are you just going to say, screw it, I'm picking my boys LAG. They've never lost. They're not going to do it now.
LAG, baby.
You're going to lose some more points on LAG?
No, we're going to win. 3-1. I'll put 2 points.
3-1. And 2 points. All right, I'll take my free 4-point swing here. I will take LAT to beat LAG. I was going to say 3-2 because, it's close always, or LAG always wins, so I got to give them at least 2 maps to keep it close, but screw it. LAT is so much better than this team right now. Putting 2 points on and LAT 3-0 over LAG.
Yeah, but that's what LAT kind of does sometimes, just kind of wake up one day, don't feel it, lose.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. They just randomly wake up one day and they're just I don't feel like playing today, and they get destroyed by a team they shouldn't get destroyed by, but they're finally going to get their first win against LAG here. Here it comes. I can't believe it's still to the point where they're looking for their first win against them, but here we are. And I'm taking LAT in a 3-0. Then we got NYSL versus OpTic. Really, from here on out, the matches get incredible for the weekend. NYSL versus OpTic's a fantastic match. Atlanta versus Toronto is an incredible match. Then going into Sunday, Vegas versus LAG. is interesting just because of the champs implications. Like Vegas needs all these wins, and Vegas could potentially be locking up a winners bracket spot only 3 matches into the stage, which is like unheard of for Vegas. Be their first ever, winners bracket spot. Then we get Toronto versus Florida. Interesting one because of Toronto's struggles. Can they bounce back? If they're potentially 0-3 after losing to Faze. And then, Thieves OpTic, maybe the most marquee match in the CDL. It's a great weekend, really, from halfway through Saturday on.
Yeah. It's a tough matchup.
Yeah.
3-2 to OpTic Texas. 1 point.
I'm on the save wavelength as you, like everything. Also going to put 1 point on it. I'm also going OpTic 3-2.
Two good teams. Going to be a good match.
2 very good teams, but I feel a little bit better about OpTic's form right now. I think like I get that NYSL just took out Faze. It wasn't a game 5 round 11, and they're just 2 good teams squaring up. Obviously, OpTic, like we said, can't take too much from their last match because it was against London, who we all know is not the best team. But I don't know. There's something I like about OpTic's form right now. I think they're a really, really good team, and their hitting form where I think more ever since that run that OpTic made, their hitting form at the major, where I think New York is still trying to find it. And I think they're back maybe on the right track after beating Faze, but I'm still not sure. Whereas I think OpTic is taking all the strides in the right direction. So I like OpTic, but I'm going 3-2 and only 1 point as well because I'm not super confident in OpTic over New York.
Yeah.
Then we got a great matchup. This one is a bounty match, extra $10,000 in the line. Atlanta versus Toronto. Toronto got their first win over Faze at the major. That was Toronto's first win over Faze in a very long time. I believe their first win on LAN against them ever, the CDL. Jeez. So they ended that streak. You think they can continue it? This is a must-win game for Toronto. Their chances at winners bracket probably reside partially in other people's hands if they lose this one because they'd be 0-3, obviously 2-3. You can still make winners bracket. A few teams usually do, but it requires like map counts to go your way and everything.
Yeah.
Which thankfully for them, they did go map 5 in their other 2 series, so that will benefit them that they have 4 map wins in our 0-2, the maximum amount of wins you can have. But I think they improve to 1-2 and keep their hopes more alive, or do you think they drop to 0-3?
I just think I don't see them going 0-3, but I really don't see Faze losing 2 like this early.
Yeah, it's a conundrum here because Faze would also drop to 1-2 if they lost this.
Yeah, I'll go Toronto 3-2. Nice little 3-2 for game 5 round 11. Jeez.
Another game 5 round 11. Faze losing.
Yeah, I'll put 1 point.
I'm gonna go the opposite direction of you.
That's fair enough.
I think Atlanta's gonna win 3-0, and I'm putting 2 points on it. I think Atlanta are gonna put Toronto into a spiral of questioning themselves. How many times have we seen it where a team, wins a major and comes out and kind of sucks in the next stage? I think Toronto might be in that boat. I think they could get back on track. I think they could win this series. It's 2 very good teams. You never know what could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto 3-0s them. But I think Atlanta's going to come out. They know that they want to win this. I think they're going to want to get a little revenge. I think they want to kind of establish themselves as the big dog in the league again, and they got to get back to beating these other top teams. And I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to smack them in the mouth with like a comeback. That's what I'm thinking in the map 1. I'm thinking like, I don't know what map they're going to play. I'm thinking like Toronto's up like 190 to 140. Not a crazy comeback, but I think Toronto's up like a full 60, basically, like 190 to 140. They're up. I think Faze holds like a full 60 and then like rolls them and ends up beating them like 250 to 200, like basically a 100 to 10 run. Wins map 1. Really specific prediction there. And then I think they beat them in a close map 2, and then they destroy them in a control. And they 3-0. Now watch, everything will probably happen opposite of that, and Toronto will 3-0 or something, but going to say Atlanta 3-0. Just because I have a feeling Atlanta's going to come out different that series.
Yeah. Very possible, though.
Yeah, anything is possible in that series. I could literally see either team winning by any map count because it's essentially maybe our top 2 teams you could make an argument for.
Yeah.
All right, we got Florida versus Toronto.
Major.
Yeah, that's also true. Florida versus Toronto. Sorry, I skipped a match here.
LAG
Vegas versus LAG. Your boys LAG versus your other boys Vegas. This is a little war for you going on.
Draw?
Yeah, predict the draw. They just keep lagging off the servers and can't play.
You never know with that line Call of Duty, but I'll pick Vegas. TJ
All
Haley
right.
again. What do I want to give him? 3-1.
Yep.
They'll take the control. LAG will. Then yeah, that's all they get. 3-2. I mean, yeah, 3-1. 3-1. 1 point.
I'm doing the same thing as you, but I'm gonna put 2 points on it. I thought the exact same thing. I have the exact same read on the series. I think it's a 3-1 with LAG taking the control. And I'm gonna put 2 points on it. That was my exact thoughts. Took the words out of my mouth. I think exact same thing. I think I can see a world where LAG takes hard points because they do have players that can pop off. The most odd sub matchup, but I can't believe I'm saying it, but like I can't wait to watch Standy and TJ versus Joe Deceives and Exceed. Like I think that LAG sub duo is really good. They just have an awkward fit with their two ARs, and I think that the Vegas sub duo is really good, and their AR duo fits better. So that's why I like Vegas, but it's an interesting matchup that you wouldn't think would be interesting, but it is very interesting. That's kind of the story of this second match on Sunday, in my opinion, as well. Toronto versus Florida is a match that should be interesting because Toronto's are defending champs, and they should absolutely roll through Florida. But this match is very intriguing because Florida keeps things close and Toronto is struggling. And if our prediction, or if my prediction comes true at least, Toronto's 0-3, desperation mode. Florida's also 0-3 coming into this match if my prediction holds true, desperation mode. So one team is having their winner's bracket chances crushed in the way my predictions are going. So you like Toronto to squeak this out, or is Florida gonna surprise us and pull off a little upset here? I think it's certainly possible. I think Florida could win.
I will do Toronto. Benefit of the doubt. But a 3-2 close ass series. And I'll put 2 points.
Okay. I mean, we're kind of on the same page on a lot of these matches today because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking Florida keeps it really close, but Toronto overall is just a better team. They edge them out in the end.
Yep.
I'm going to put 2 points on it as well. I mean, that makes, what is that? Both series on Sunday so far were the same, including map count. Then same with that one series on Saturday, one series on Friday. So that's 4 series were the exact same. It's going to be come down to our 4-point match. And then like the Battle of LA and the Atlanta Toronto series. Like we got a lot of the same predictions, but I feel like a lot of the predictions this week are like a hot team playing a cold team or a good team playing a bad team.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to predict against it. But here's one where we could definitely split. Either team could be picked. These teams are almost on the same level. You could argue are very close to it, and you could easily go either way. A wager match, extra money on the line. LA Thieves versus OpTic Texas. Arguably the marquee match of the CDL, just due to, it's Nade Shot versus OpTic. It's 100 Thieves versus OpTic, two of the most popular orgs. Where are you going with this one? I think it's going to be a tight series.
3-2 LAT. I'll put 2 points.
Okay. I mean,
I'm hoping it goes to round 11 too. Game 5, round 11.
Yeah, and I mean, I could be completely lying here, but I will say since 100, if you count 100 Thieves, BO4, where I know they had OpTic's number, and then you skip MW where they weren't in, and then you go Cold War, Vanguard, MW2 included. I feel like Thieves overall has definitely won that head-to-head series versus OpTic.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact stats in front of me, but like just off a gut feeling, would you agree? I think Thieves has won more times than OpTic has in that series.
Yeah. The only time really Texas has had the Thieves number was like early Vanguard, like the first couple.
Yeah, early Vanguard when OpTic was like the best team and Thieves was only okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see like if I can find like the CDL stat muse thing. I'm gonna pick OpTic 3-2 and put 2 on it just to go opposite of you. We each put 2 on it. That'll help us get a little bit of a swing. And I do think OpTic's gonna win this because I just feel better about them as a team right now. But man, Thieves has also looked incredible in that first week. So this has potential to be like the best matchup of the weekend, and I'm really hoping that it pans out to be. And I agree. I hope it goes Game 5, round 11, like I basically hope every series does. But yeah, I'm taking OpTic in a 3-2 fashion, putting 2 points on it.
That'll be a good one to watch. Oh, if you want to watch out, if you want to watch Call of this week, and watch the last one.
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying to find the all-time OpTic Texas like schedule. I'm trying to find like their all-time match record versus LA Thieves, but I don't know if I can find it here. I don't know if there's like a COD stat muse or anything. The first thing I saw was that winners round. The first thing that popped up was the winners round 2 from Vanguard, where Thieves absolutely body slammed them. That was like one of the biggest blowout series I've ever seen at a champs. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. I just saw a tweet from a CDL Scrimtel. Said Vivid has been benched by the Boston Breach from 5 minutes ago.
What?
Unless that dude's trolling, but I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know. I just saw that.
Well, I gotta go on Twitter quick before we end the podcast here. I just gassed him up. I gotta be pissed at this naturally because I just said that he's gonna be one of my favorite players now.
Alex makes no sense though. He's playing better.
Breaking Point also tweeted: Vivid has announced that he's a restricted free agent. Breach will likely start Kremp from the academy team.
Huh.
Vivid has been benched. I as a Wisconsinite, learning that Vivid is potentially maybe from Wisconsin, I don't know. I got to be pissed. It's my new gimmick because I'm a huge Vivid fan because he's a Wisconsinite and the only Wisconsinite I know in the CDL. But this is just like basically a live raw reaction. We haven't seen any reason why, but he just had an incredible series against. Who did they play last? Toronto? No.
3-2. Who was it? Why can't I think of it?
I just my brain's all jumbled now because I'm just so shocked.
Give me 1 minute. Was that a good team? Surge? No, not Surge. Toronto.
No, Toronto. It was Toronto. So they lost to Vegas. They took out Toronto, and I believe Vivid had like a 1.11. He played very well in that series. He was applying the pace, had a ton of engagements. He gets benched. He's restricted free agent, so he's obviously still under contract. Well, Kremp, first of all, Kremp is an incredible player. Both you and I think, are higher on him than almost anybody.
That dude is. He's from when we watch Doug and the Challenger scene. Kremp's always going off.
Yeah, he's an incredible player. Like every time we watched him, every map he popped off. From what I remember, he played. Unless I'm thinking of the wrong person, he also played the CCL, and I always have a bias because I worked with and for the CCL for a number of years while I was in college, and even after college. So I have an incredible bias towards CCL players, but. I mean, this move is shocking. Like earlier in the year, we also did kind of call this. Shout out to, I think you also said it, but I know I for sure said it. I did say that Vivid was on the hot seat coming into this stage because he was struggling, but he definitely was playing the best we've seen him in a while.
Yeah, especially last match, he had the highest KD, highest engagements, played well, and. You're like, no, we're gonna go Kremp now.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. I obviously we're probably not going to get the reasoning on here.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be thinking it's a pack-a-punch though for them at least.
Yeah, they have to be. And Vivid is a restricted free agent, so he's still under contract. So maybe they test it, and maybe things don't exactly work out. And they bring him back, but Grim Intel just tweeted that Seattle/Rocker should be looking into Vivid right this second. I highly doubt Seattle's going to look into it because they've been basically unwilling to make changes. I don't know why they would make a change now. I get the idea behind it though. Have Vivid really be your super aggressive player and try to make like your own version of Simp and Abezy. Vivid plays the Abezy role and just goes, and Pred can just run behind him and get all the kills. I get the idea, but if they've been unwilling to make a change, and pick up like basically anybody, I don't see why they would,
100%
make a change and pick up Vivid. I can see the reason why people would think it would make sense. I don't think they'll do it. In terms of who was the other team I just mentioned that he said Rocker. I don't really know why they would. They just made a change and went 2-0. I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, I doubt they're gonna drop anyone.
Yeah, but I'm very interested because Vivid's a very good player, and that is just really odd.
Yeah, I would have said maybe London if it wasn't this late.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know why he would. He probably won't want to go to London.
Yeah.
Why would he?
Yeah, that's fair.
Sucks for Vivid though. A team that's looking very good. This is a risk, but if they think they're pack punching, you got to respect. I will say, you got to always respect. Got to respect the team trying to pack punch and, make a move to get to the top when they feel like there's one out there to be made. But yeah, that's a shocking development that we didn't have planned to talk about because we didn't know it was going to happen until, right now.
Yeah, maybe they think Crump's the guy's going to take over the top against the better teams now.
Yeah, you can't argue against that. Yeah. Boston officially tweeted it, so yeah, it's official. After an accomplished run with Boston Academy, we are thrilled to promote Kremp to the Breach starting roster ahead of our match with London. Another one of Doug's teammates makes it to the league.
Doug is that guy.
Yeah, it's official. Happened here live on the podcast. One of the first times we've ever seen like a big move happen like this while we're talking about it. So all of a sudden that's going to be thrown in the title. If you're listening to this point, that's going to be thrown in the title. We're going to talk about it at the end. But yeah, shocking. Got to respect the move to try to pack a punch, but Vivid, feel bad for the dude. The team was finally making a run. It was probably the best team he's been on in his career at this point. Besides, I guess you could argue maybe that Empire team. I kind of forget he was on there for a second.
Yeah, maybe that team, but other than that.
Yeah, but this is a very good team, so that's tough. That's about all I got, though, if you're ready to close this one out.
Yeah, I got nothing else. I just saw that tweet. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. That's going to do it for this one, though. If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Help us get to 1,000 subs before the end of the year. That is the goal, and will remain the goal until hopefully we can hit it before the end of the year. So we appreciate all your guys' support. Drop that comment down below. We want to hear your thoughts on everything we discussed, matches, predictions, this Vivid move that randomly happened at the end here. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review on there. We've still been seeing some pretty great momentum on Spotify and everything. Got a new ad over there on Spotify for the new program that they're doing. So go listen to me in my ad read. Tell me that I'm a good ad reader, better than Zinni. He's kind of the guy everybody talks about. Go up there, gas up my ad reading skills. Go listen to the ad. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next week with more reactions and more predictions from the CDL week 2 of Major 4. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.